Morning, it's Barbara. Thank you for joining me for coffee. It is a rainy, dreary day. We're gonna have to figure out a good time for walking because it might get thundery later and we want to make sure Pearl is empty. But look what I got. Aren't these beautiful? My parents sent me this for my birthday. Isn't that gorgeous? And it's nice and low. It's be perfect for a centerpiece for the table tomorrow for dinner. So anyway, isn't it beautiful? Who ever heard of green roses though? Aren't they interesting? And these little sweet things. I think those may be Gerber daisies. Anyway, and snapdragons. Nothing in here that I'm allergic to. Apparently these flowers do not have scent. So anyway. Aren't they wonderful? Good morning, it's Barbara. Thank you for joining me for coffee. Perfect timing on getting those beautiful flowers because Aura's were done for her birthday, but hers lasted really, really long. I mean, her birthday was Valentine's Day. So we'll have flowers for a while here. So yesterday day went very smoothly. Do you see? Are you noticing? Are you noticing the lack of... Although there's still poinsettias because the poinsettias have stayed. Normally I undecorate after the poinsettias have died. My poinsettias usually die pretty early. But this year I've got 3. I mean, some of them died, but 3 that are still hanging in there. Pretty interesting to me. But that was it. I was expecting the cleaning people to come around 3 o'clock. I had time. And it turns out that, you know, last fall, when I was decorating, I was not in an exuberant mood. And so I only put a few things up. I felt very decorated. It looked gorgeous. But what you could see behind me was all I had. So I had boxwood up here with a few big pieces. I had bows on the windows. I had my tree. And a cup and a paper tree that was here, just a couple of other things. And it only took a very few minutes for me to pull everything. I cleared the table of my painting stuff, and then I pulled all the Christmas decorations out of the room and put them on the table. I posted a picture of that table on Instagram to show that I was undecorating, and it really was a tiny job to undecorate. And I really wanted to get it done before Pete and Terry came because the boxwood was shedding and, you know, you couldn't dust around the tree. And anyway, it was just, it was time. And this is the time I would normally undecorate. So I decided to go ahead and do it and take advantage of the time I had. And they ended up coming at 1:30, but it was okay because I was that done. So it worked out great. So anyway, we're undecorated. We still have some poinsettias, but otherwise. But the thing that's so frustrating is not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before. So we're talking almost 18 months ago. I took stuff out of the living room. This painting always goes upstairs so that I could decorate for Christmas. I cannot find the stuff that was on that mantle. I had a beautiful yellow glass vase that I bought with my sister at the Arts Festival in State College several years ago. I had the Dance Macabre, which was Christy had embroidered and given to Dennis for Christmas that we loved, was up there. I did find a couple boxes of stuff that had previously been in the living room. Dennis claims these boxes have been down there for quite a while. The things I want out of these are, for one, the picture frames for the granddaughter's school pictures. I have them sitting on the window up here because I don't know where the frames were. Well, I found the frames. But the other things, I cannot find. It's so frustrating. And, you know, we have so much stuff. We have so much stuff. Although there's one place I want to look now that I'm thinking about it. Hold on, let me look. I have a corner piece over here that the dog bed sits in front of. So it's really hard to open the door. And I thought, oh, that would have been a clever place for me to put it. Except apparently I haven't put anything in it. It is completely empty. it's like the only empty space in the house. There's usually a dog laying on that bed, so it's not easy to get to. But anyway, I didn't use that clever space to put my stuff, which is a shame, because I would have just found it. But I have an empty space. It's not a big piece, but it, you know, whatever. I didn't find my things. So that is frustrating because I really like them and I want to put them back on the mantle, but I have not come across them yet in a year and a half. I hid them very cleverly. I didn't mean to hide them. Dennis thinks, and he may be right, that I had some idea that I could take the stuff off, wrap it carefully, put it in the Christmas boxes, and then when I undecorated, I would come across it and put it back. I know I had that thought, but I don't know if I did it. And if I did do it, I never came across them again. So they may be in the Christmas boxes, and I may uncover them in October or November. I do remember having that thought. I don't remember if I did it. But since I only pulled out a few odds and ends to decorate this past season, anyway, I don't know where they are, and that makes me sad. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, I will at least have the granddaughter's pictures up because I found them. And yeah, so yesterday worked out really great. I was able to undecorate. The cleaners came early, so they were gone earlier than we had thought. The time that we thought we were going to have them would have been a little disruptive, so that worked out great. Yeah. So I'm feeling really good about that. I read, and today the task is to start working on Christy's room. Yeah. It's very junky, messy. I mean, really, you can hardly get in the door at this point because I washed my socks last week, and so they've been in, they're on the hanging, you know, the racks, hanging racks in that room. They've been dry for a long time, but, you know, so I'll put them away. So it will immediately start to look better once I get those down. But I have a lot of things to put away there. Even though, you know, my mojo has been really, really low and I haven't been doing a lot of shopping, I did buy, and maybe you can remember, I bought yarn for 2 sweaters a year ago because Leslie gave me the pattern, the Sylvester, which I really liked and I thought I might want to do, and I did a swatch of it to just see how the pattern worked because it's got some interesting detail of a contrast color. So this is like a DK or worsted sweater, but it has fingering, colorful contrast color fingering knit in it, and it very interesting. Anyway, I wanted to try to see, because it could be fiddly, and did I really want to do it, and did I like the way it looked, and that kind of thing. And so I did a swatch and I liked it, but it's going to be a lot of work because it's almost like double knitting where you have to knit each row twice. It's a little bit like that because you knit a row of that fingering that's just for a little bit of color, but you got to do the whole thing. So anyway, I bought yarn for that, and that's not typical for me. It's typically I have yarn. I buy the yarn. Oh, I love that yarn. I buy a sweater's quantity, and then I find a pattern for it. But I bought yarn for that because I wanted it to be just the natural cream color with the highlights of the contrast color, and so I bought a sweater's quantity of yarn for that for both aspects of that sweater. And while I was there, and I can't for the life of me remember at the moment what pattern I had in mind, but I bought mohair. I bought a sweater's quantity of mohair, like I was going to hold a mohair double with something, but I cannot remember what pattern it was that I was thinking about making. And maybe you guys can remember. Some of you have very good memories, but I can't think of, but I bought mohair to make a something held with mohair sweater, and it's white mohair, and I can't, anyway, so I have these sweaters quantities that I have bought, and those yarns are still in the bag in my room, which is how this conversation started, because I have to figure out a place to put these. I have, most of my big bags are already used for bags full of minis or bags, you know, project bags of projects. I guess I'm going to have to, although it's March now. Karen from the Recreational Dinner did a February, you know, frog or finish project, and which I enjoyed watching. But I didn't do. But I have a couple things in bags that, well, one I know I'm in a frog. It's an old Stephen West mystery shawl that I've shown you 5 times. So it was from 3 or 4 years ago that, you know, and I did enough of it that it could be like a scarf or a cowl or something, but I just don't have the energy to even think about it. I think I'm just gonna frog it, and it's some nice colors that I picked, that they're Crafty Toad Hollow yarns, and then minis, different minis in it. So anyway, I can get back I might have already taken the needle out of that, I'm pretty sure I did, but I can get the yarn back, and the bag is, you know, now I got to find those big bags, but I have other bags. I mean, it doesn't have to be, I'm not taking anywhere, it doesn't need a zipper. I have tote bags people have given me. Anyway, I might bag up the Sylvester so that the yarns are all together. I don't have nearly the mojo nor the arm space to do all the knitting that in my brain I think I want to do. Isn't that so? So I feel like I'm in the process of working on getting my mojo back, and but either way, I'll be able to find that yarn in a bag anyway. Oh, blather on, but that's what's in that room. Bags of yarn that I haven't put away. Yarn that was gifted to me that I haven't figured out where to put it. I stopped quite a few years ago. I stopped using the stash part of Ravelry, which had been very useful at one point, but then you get behind and then it's not that useful anymore, and so I'm way behind now. I keep my yarn for a long time, so I can still go and look at it and see what I think I might have from my old stuff. None of my new stuff is in there. So every once in a while, I need to go through my yarn and look at it and whatever. Maybe it's time to think about a de-stash. Maybe it's time to think about a de-stash. I have all those cubbies, you know, in my room. And maybe I just decide that those cubbies, that whole piece, because they're drawers down below pull things, is my container for my yarn. And if I can't fit it in that, maybe it's time to glean a little bit. I have so much yarn. We'll see. Well, I may be pulling some bins out from underneath my desk and piling them in the hallway so Christy has room in that room for her suitcase and everything. And those bins, I have several bins full of sweaters quantities of yarn. So I might just take a look at what I have and see, you know, am I really going to use it? And if I'm not, then what do I do with it? So things to think about. But anyway, it's a dreary day and whatever, big window there to watch the drear, but I think it's going to be, it does feel good to cuddle the yarn and figure out what I, think about it and touch it and stuff. Touching yarn is a little, probably like they say, go walk in the grass in your bare feet. You need to touch grass to kind of center yourself. I think maybe as knitters and as fiber people, just cuddling your yarn has the same effect. I think so. So I think it's going to be a good day, even though I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. And I have jewelry making stuff that I think needs some final decisions. I would like this day to be also make some final decisions about some things. I haven't made jewelry in a really long time. And I do have a studio in the shed that has my glass making stuff, and there's no reason not to load it up with stuff. Taking a bin out there with some jewelry making stuff, because I'll still have it, if I get the urge. So that might be something that I can do, and that will give me less clutter in there and more room. I did move the knitting books to the bottom shelf in the hallway, so I do have room there to start organizing my painting stuff. And if I moved some jewelry making stuff, it would be easier to access that space. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing today. I'm sorry, I'm so rambly today. But anyway, please take good care of yourselves. Please, please, please stay safe.